podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Good morning, dear listeners. Welcome to a post-deadline day edition of, it's Tuesday with Merv, in actual fact, not Monday with Merv. Here he is, the man himself. Merv, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nick. Good to be on.
We're speaking, listeners, obviously, in the wake of yesterday's deadline day shenanigans. Just saying off air, Merv, it was probably the biggest story, I suppose, a bit like the Sherlock Holmes story of the dog that didn't bark. This was a transfer that didn't take place of Femi Aziz, for any listeners that have missed it. Apparently, we read Ipswich Town came in very, very hard for Femi. Merv, 15 million. I've seen 20 million banded around. And Millwall straight battered it. It's, a statement of intent, I suppose, for by the club. How do you see the dog that didn't bark, so to speak?
Well, my first reaction was what a testimony it is, or how far we've come in terms of recruitment. I was thinking about it at the other end. I mean, Femi Aziz, I think we never know how much we pay for players these days, but I think the rumour was around about 1.5 mil we paid for him from Reading about 18 months ago.
Yeah.
I think he came into Neil Harris's side that season, and to be totally honest, a lot of fans were underwhelmed by him, weren't sure what he brought to the team. And then suddenly he's one of the most, once Alex Neil gets sort of settled in, suddenly becomes one of the most important players in the squad. And you look at his record, or you look at our results when he's played against when he's not, and suddenly we can't sort of imagine life without him. And he's suddenly he's being courted to the tune of 15, 20 million. Gone are the days when, I'm thinking back, I'm going to touch on stuff that certain listeners will remember from the old days. I can remember signing a certain Chris Armstrong in the summer. None of us knowing who he was, apart from some sort of prospect from Wrexham. Started the season sort of sensationally, and before you could start singing his name, Palace had signed him. And
for £1 million, I think it was back then.
Yeah, and he was gone.
Yeah.
So it's refreshing to see us picking up players that grow in value and help the team, but also that provide sort of sell-on value. And I think, it perhaps without sounding too negative, I think perhaps what that tells you, and a lot of people on social media said this last night, probably suggests that if Millwall was still a Championship side in August, it will probably be without Femi Aziz, but we'll probably be about £20 million better off.
Yeah,
and we'll be able to go out there and replace him with one or two, possibly 2 or 3 top Championship standard players that are going to improve the team even more. And this is what we've been saying for years, what a club like ours needs to do. I will say that a lot of comments on social media saying Ipswich are up to a bit of mischief making, trying to disrupt a possible playoff or promotion rival.
Well, I was going to touch on that.
Yeah. I find it funny now that when we were so back in the early days, a football transfer was something that happened between the football manager, possibly his assistant, at a motorway service station somewhere.
With a brown paper envelope involved.
They discuss terms, they buy him a coffee and a pie, and that was it, deal done. Now it's like some sort of Sky Atlantic miniseries. It's subterfuge, politics, and we're going to pretend to be after this player so that settles. We don't really want him, and it's bizarre. It's crazy.
It's like a big game, high stakes game of poker. I mean, I've seen the same comments at our Ipswich playing mind games. I don't know. Mind games beyond me, Merv.
Yeah, they signed Bristol City's one of their star players, that Mehmeti, another winger. And someone said also, are they only signing wingers, or are they trying to corner the market on wingers? But they're clearly out to get key players, from promotion rivals. But that one really threw me when I saw that. I wasn't totally surprised that someone had come in for him, but that threw me that it was perhaps Ipswich.
Well, I suppose Ipswich are still flush with some parachute money. They haven't.
Oh, definitely, yeah. They have.
I'm just looking at the table. I mean, they're in the mix for, 4th position. been beaten 6 times, and they're not. They're doing well, but they're not ripping up the Forest, are they? So
No, well, no one is now, thanks to Coventry's little blip. I
no,
think
they're
we're the only
having a
team that
blip.
haven't beaten them in the last month.
So whether that is kind of like a James Bond poker game level of you take out your
Yeah,
opponent's prime ace card. I don't know, listeners. But
yeah,
I mean, the thing that struck me with it, Merv, I mean, a few things really. One, the statement of intent I just mentioned. I mean, for
yeah.
us, you and me go back a long way. I go back
Mm.
to my little 14-year-old heart being broken when we sold Gordon Hill to Manchester United
Yeah,
back
there
in
you go.
the
Yeah,
70s, because that's what
mm.
we did. We found
Yeah,
young, promising kids, and then we flogged them at the first
yeah.
opportunity. That was Millwall,
Mine,
Merv.
yeah, mine was Kevin O'Callaghan.
Kevin
Yeah,
O'Callaghan. There we are.
Kevin O'Callaghan, 17, scored the only goal in my first ever game at the Den, and 3 months later was off to Ipswich, and I was watching him on Match of the Day, which was quite a bizarre. I
Yeah,
remember it being quite a bizarre sort of experience seeing that
strange. Yeah.
player. Yeah,
Of course,
really,
Gordon Hill
really
went on
bizarre.
to fame and fortune in United, England, and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
But no consolation to us in the
no, it's not.
10.
No.
So the idea, if you'd have told me back then, Mervyn, probably you with Kevin O'Callaghan, that one day we would be straight batting 15 plus
Mm,
million. Let's go on the conservative side of the numbers, 15
yeah.
million pound plus. And we'd be saying no because we want to hold out for a playoff, possibly even automatic run.
Mm,
Would have been a bit beyond my imagination. I couldn't
definitely.
picture it. So it is a it certainly sets our stall out. We are where we are in the table. He is an ace card,
Mm,
and you don't want to lose him, especially to a promotion rival for the
yeah.
and who knows what value he might have in the summertime if we fall short. We don't know. I suppose the only other thing that really strikes me, Merv, and again in a similar way, there is an impact on a player when you see big numbers like this being banded around as a potential deal. The player's career is a fragile thing. You're only ever
Mm,
really one bad tackle away from it all disintegrating into dust. And we've seen the effect that big bids had on Zian Fleming. He wasn't quite the same player afterwards, was he? And even to some extent, Ivanovic, when he was starting to, get some interest from allegedly Syria and all the rest of it. So I just worry a touch. I think Femi is an intelligent boy, and I'm sure that this will play on his mind because to get a slice of the £15 million action would be a very tempting thing, wouldn't it? He's a professional. But equally, if he can succeed with Millwall, then the riches will be there either with us or somebody else in the summertime, just a few months away. So hopefully he's going to play through it. But there is an impact, I think, of these big numbers that fly around in the game now.
yeah, I think that is the difference between the August transfer window, which is when all the Fleming speculation took place, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the
yeah,
January one. Once the January one sort of slams shut quite quickly, you've got a few months. The end of the season's here before you know it. And yeah, you'd like to think I'm not hoping I'm being overly optimistic or overly sort of romantic in thinking that his mindset will be, well, let's just crack on, play my best,
yeah,
do whatever I can to get Millwall promoted. And if it doesn't work out, the move's still there. Let's hope that it will spur him on rather than
yeah.
tending into a sulk. I don't think it will. Like you say, you've spoken to him, haven't you? I mean, he is an intelligent guy,
I think he's yeah. I
and
mean,
I
he's
think
also
he'll
a
play.
realistic
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Things
yeah,
don't always work out how you might, in your dream, you might think, oh,
yeah.
great.
I think what's important, what's so different about in this January transfer window to all previous ones is our position. We are a very strong playoff contender,
Yeah,
possibly even a top two contender. Whereas in previous years, because we've not had a great start to the season, we've been lurking around 10th, ninth. And when we've gone for players, they've looked at it and they've weighed it up against who else were in for them and thought, well, no. I mean, he might look at Ipswich and say, well, I've got just as much chance of getting promoted with Millwall as I have with Ipswich.
absolutely. Millwall
So,
versus Ipswich in the playoff. I mean, you could take your
yeah, you
take your
just
pick
don't know.
between either one of them, really. So
Yeah, he could peak. So I think he's probably weighed that up as well.
yeah,
And then in thinking again, if he puts himself even more in the shop window for the rest of the season, whatever happens to Ipswich, someone who's already in the Premier League might take a punt on him in the summer, and he gets there either way.
no, absolutely,
Mm,
absolutely. We'll see how events pan out. I was just looking before I logged on to speak to Merv listeners, the Millwall poll, who do these little X
mm,
polls. put one on it. Was it a good transfer window? And only been 27 votes when I looked, so it might be more now. But 63% people saying it was a good transfer window, 19% excellent, and 19% average. I don't know what average, what planet they're on, but anyway, I mean, overall, we've improved, in my opinion, Merv. I mean, we've got the straight back laid on Ipswich for the bid for Femi, but we brought in a highly rated prospect on loan. I will accept from Brighton, Tommy Watson. And the same in goal, Anthony Patterson, as well as, of course, Barry Bannon, who came on for his Millwall debut on Saturday. Each of those players are improvements on equivalent positions, I think, at the moment. So, I
This
mean,
is it.
you
Yeah, I
know,
mean, it's a very different transfer window, wasn't it? The last years when it was sort of wholesale sort of incomings, and there was a lot of young prospects, so to speak.
yeah,
And I think you go back. I mean, you look at our previous transfer business. This I don't mean this to be disrespectful to the players, but the likes of sort of Watmore and Ollie Burke and
yeah,
people like that, and you think, oh, they might do a job. But the reality was, they were like Watmore, for example, was coming from a team sort of who had playoff aspirations as we did, who felt they didn't need him, and so it sort of panned out that way. To be fair, you've got to look to. I think you've got to look to upgrade, and the squad's so strong at the moment. There aren't many areas you could upgrade in, and I think I was thinking about the game against Sheffield United on Saturday. We come up against a really sort of wily old coach
well organised.
yeah, and he knew what our strengths were. He knew how to nullify us. And
Yeah,
I saw people saying, "Oh, Crammer and Doughty weren't quite as effective," and Aziz didn't look on it. But I think that's because Sheffield United knew how to nullify them. They saw them as our key threat, their key threats,
yeah.
and
No,
and
agree,
and I
agree.
think what you need then is, so if someone's going to do that to you, someone's going to perhaps snuff out the threat of Aziz, you need another outlet, and we've not really got that. And
No,
obviously, we'll talk about Ida Moemaku a bit later, and that's where Watson comes in. I think, so if they stick two men on Aziz, for example, then that's going to free up Watson. So, but we've not had that luxury in the past. We've
no,
not had
no.
the two wide.
Watson's an England under-21 international,
Yeah,
so
I mean, yeah,
the, these are
the
the
boxes.
rarefied worlds we're moving in now. We're not signing boys from nowhere. These are, he scored a winning goal in the playoff final. He's come from
Yes, yeah,
Brighton, and they want to. It's a loan, so I
yeah.
don't think no permanent
A
elements.
lot of Brighton fans disappointed as well, because they thought he's only played 6 games in the Premier League, but they really rate him. They thought he
Right?
did well, deserved more game time. I think perhaps you've got maybe a little bit of a Romain Essie sort of situation, but although Essie didn't really do anything at Palace,
No,
he's
no,
never
no.
had a chance at all, whereas Watson was at Brighton, and it seemed to impress them, and he's moved through the England under-21 ranks. So yeah, I mean, if he fulfills his potential, it's without being unfair to other players in the squad, it's a massive upgrade. And
Absolutely. I mean, they're loaning him to us to improve him and probably
yeah, yeah.
take him back to Brighton. That's the deal, isn't it? But
Mm,
perhaps we can benefit. I mean, Patterson, seems well rated. I haven't seen
yeah.
enough of him. I just said we've improved. I'm
Mm.
hoping we've improved goalkeeping wise there. I mean, Crocombe, I don't mind, but I don't think he's quite at the top level. Whether Patterson is, I read some good reports.
I've seen loads of good
Sunderland,
comments from Sunderland fans,
yeah,
basically saying they wouldn't have got in the Premier League without him. Real good quality stuff. Really praising him, and obviously the benefit he's worked with Alex Neil. And it does feel harsh on Crocombe, but I keep seeing a lot of Millwall fans on social media saying we've got to go for it. We never have a better chance.
no.
But going for it, it's a double-edged sword, because it's not just about bringing players in. You have to ship some out or disappoint some, and people say, "Oh, it's unfair on Crocombe if he gets dropped on Saturday." But I don't think Patterson's going to come in as a number two, is he? Because
No, no. I
that's why
expect
he's left Sunderland.
I expect
Um,
Watson and Patterson and Bannon to
yeah,
start. I mean,
you can say,
that's
"Oh,
the
that's
point.
unfair," but yeah, but this is what I think. If you'd have sat down with Alex Neil and said, "Right, you can upgrade 3 areas. What we upgrade," and he probably would have said goalkeeper, sort of left
Left
midfield,
side,
and
yeah, and someone
yeah,
to create in the middle, maybe.
possibly striker. But again, we'll come to that on when you're talking
Well,
about
that
deals
was
that
the
never
other
went
thing. That was the
deals
only,
that never went through. Yeah, yeah.
the only area where perhaps you might say it was a good rather than an excellent transfer window. No striker signed, but then I don't know. We're probably only going to be playing with one striker. We've got Coburn, we've got Ivanovic.
Mm,
Langstaff has stayed put, interestingly.
yeah.
So we've probably got a few strikers there for the amount of potential vacancies that we've got there in that
Yeah.
position. So we'll see. We'll find out. Proof of the pudding,
Mm.
etc. I mean, I've got a great question here from I don't know if it's Bromley Lions or Bromsgrove Lions. So forgive me, SB Brom Lions. That's what he's put. It could be Bromley, could be Bromsgrove.
Yeah.
He's asking Achtung, Mill and Merv Payne. Looking forward to Monday with Merv. Here we are discussing the Idemo Imaku transfer.
Mm.
Brom asks, is this the sale that indicates the end of the Millwall loyalty and beginning of pragmatic ruthlessness? Looking forward to it, dear listeners.
Mm.
Are we getting ruthless, Merv? I think we probably are.
We have to. I think the thing is we have to. Again, we talk about fans wanting us to go for it, and we can't really go for it financially as such because we're sort of restricted
Yeah,
certain way. We've spent more than ever in the last few years, but we've done it. We've done it sensibly within the rules of PPP and all that. But yeah, it is. I'm seeing a lot of division over the Imaku transfer, and
yeah,
it is sad in a way. I mean, he arrived exactly 3 years ago as a 19-year-old prospect from Shamrock Rovers, and you think, oh,
yep,
there's a history of Millwall getting good young players from Ireland, and I think the mistake the club made. I've seen people saying, "Oh, the club let him down," and this and that. I don't think they let him down as such, but perhaps the benefit of hindsight, the first thing we should have done, or let him perhaps bed into the club, and then perhaps in that first full season, send him out on loan
low,
to League.
yeah,
I think that's what he lacked, real English football league experience.
yeah,
When we've discussed it so many times, and he has been something of a mystery sort of player because at times he shows flashes of brilliance,
yep.
great pass, can beat a man. His work rate is unbelievable. He really grafts, gives everything. But then there was always that frustrating aspect where,
What's the final ball, Merv, isn't it?
and what we saw against Charlton, which will obviously be his Millwall swan song.
Epitaph. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, was
yeah.
what we should have really been seeing, not week in, week out. That'd be expecting him, but what we should have been seeing far more often. Um, and I think there's a lot more behind this. I mean, I don't
I've
think it's we only know so much, but his contract is up in June.
yeah.
He's got
He's
4 months.
gone.
Yeah,
He's gone to Oxford, who
yeah. We've
look
not heard
like
any. We've not seen any news about him discussing a new contract. I think the player and the club have come to an agreement and said, "Look,
yeah.
we're not planning on renewing your contract. You're frustrated with lack of game time. You deserve
Deserve
it."
better. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think he was. I think this goes for Langstaff in a way. I think they were both perhaps put in the shop window through January
yeah,
because they've made a lot more. They had quite a bit more game time than they did previously.
yeah.
Um, and I think whilst it's a bit sad because it will always be a matter of what could have been. When you look at the steps or the strides as he's made in 18 months, I
Well,
don't think Imaku made that same
no.
progress,
And
sadly,
yet,
which is
when I
what we
first
need.
saw him, I think I mentioned in the show I did at the weekend, it was in that FA Premier League under 21 final that we had at the Den. I thought we
Yeah.
really had a prospect in
Mm.
Idem. I thought he was the one that was going to make it.
Yeah.
But talking about the ruthlessness of Brom lines there, I've got two sets of numbers here for you, Mo. So I looked
Yeah.
because my instinct when the club posted that Idemo had moved on, and my first instinct, as so often, is what a nice boy he was. I
Mm.
briefly spoke to him at the end of year meal, and he's a lovely boy.
Yeah, I bet.
Respectful,
Mm.
polite, everything you would want, and that's not the judge. Is it? At the end of the day,
No.
we're all lovely people. But I've got his numbers here. So since he came to us, he's made 29 starts, 53 off the substitutes bench. He scored 3 goals in that time and made 4 assists. And that's not good enough because we're at the championship level. By contrast, so he's got 3 goals, Idema.
Mm.
By contrast, Wes Harding, who's just left us on loan and probably for good now to Plymouth, made 31 starts, 13 subs, and he scored 4 goals. So Wes
Yeah.
outscored him.
Mm. Yeah,
And I
it's
thought,
very telling, isn't it?
that's a bit damning in a way, isn't it? The 4 assists doesn't help his cause from what's that, 70 plus 80, nearly 80 other moments on the pitch. And
Yeah.
this is the ruthlessness, to answer your question for me, Brom. This is the ruthlessness we've got to apply because as much as he's a lovely bloke, and I'm sure he's great company, those are numbers don't help, do they?
No,
We're at this level.
I think perhaps we've been guilty of this in the past. I think perhaps we've been a bit sentimental in keeping players
Yeah,
on, players back.
absolutely. We have.
Well, they're a good squad player. I mean, again, we'll come on to Langstaff in a minute. I've said this. There was a discussion about Langstaff after the Charlton game, and I said, he's a valuable asset to the squad. But if we've got the opportunity, or if you're looking about upgrades and you're looking about forward positions, then he's the one.
Yeah.
He's the one, and I'm pretty certain he was similarly in the shop window, and I think there was only rumours that Bailey Kadamari was with the club were interested in signing the striker for Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I think if that had happened, I think that there'd be plenty of League One teams keen to get Langstaff. But we have to be ruthless. We have to decide what it is we want to do. Do we want to have a go at it and narrowly miss out again, like we have done about 6 of the last 7 seasons,
or are we going to close the deal? And I think that's what I take away from yesterday's deadline day, listeners. I think it is a statement of intent. I wish both. I'm sure Merv joins me wishing Idamo and Wes well
definitely,
at their new clubs. I've seen nothing but good wishes to both players. Wes doing kind of work with the community team, stuff like that. So both decent people, and both we wish well for the future. But it's going to be an interesting and, I dare say, exciting run in there. Merv, Wrexham away on Saturday. Like we said earlier on, I'm going to expect that Bannon, Patterson, Watson will be heavily involved, if starters perhaps, heavily involved if not. It's going to be a very interesting last 16 games of the season now. It's our best position that I think we've been in since the early 90s. That's my take on it, really. I mean, maybe the McGee season, but I don't know that we were quite as well placed that season. We kind of served in.
Well, funnily enough, I was going through some old photos the other week, and this is one of the weird things I do. I found a photograph of the Teletext League tables from January 2002. And we just beaten Watford, and we just gone second in the table behind Man City.
Right.
And I was obviously I found it that rare that I felt
you had to photo it.
Yeah. But then I think again we think back to that transfer deadline. We'd lost Tim Cahill and Richie Sadlier to injury.
We had.
And we brought in the guy's name, the midfielder whose name escapes me. He got sent off on his debut against Sheffield Wednesday. Can't remember his name. It was a complete flop. But we brought in Dion Dublin.
We did.
And that was enough to get us into the playoffs. But I remember thinking at the time there was other rumours of other players we were after, a midfielder from Stoke, a midfielder from Preston. The names will come to me when we go off air. That's what always happens. But I think if we'd perhaps gone for it, so to speak, then, or not had a stronger squad so that we didn't miss Cahill and Sadlier quite as much.
Yep.
Second spot was ours. There's no doubt about that. This is the closest we've come since then, I think. But
McPhail.
That's Stephen McPhail. Yeah, I mean McPhail. He did.
That's spelled with a PH, not FAIL, listeners.
It was. Remember, he made his debut at Sheffield Wednesday. He got sent off. We got beat. We went to Sheffield United. I think we were winning at Sheffield United, and they come back and beat. We lost 2 in a row, and that's what came off, and it was gutting. But I think as sad as it is to see loyal, sort of decent players like Emeka and Harding go, we have got to be ruthless. That's the bottom line. We've got
to be ruthless. We've headed off big money for better or for worse. With I mean, this is what ruthlessness looks like, dear listeners. We've got to get used to it. I don't think we've naturally been used to it in the past, but there we are. Merv, great stuff, mate. Thank you for coming on this morning. And listeners, stay tuned. We've got the voicemails from Saturday. Stay tuned.
Hello. Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. It's Monday morning. I thought I'd leave my voicemail until today just to see if anything cropped up yesterday after the game on Saturday, and in terms of transfers and that. And looks like we've got 2 excellent loan signings coming in. And, you've got to be fair that even though sort of they were all talked about last week, there was nothing definite until obviously we get them over the line. And well done to the recruitment team and Alex Neil for getting what should be 2 excellent additions to our squad. I think he knows both of them. I think the one thing I'll say about the 2 he's got in, obviously the goalkeeper hopefully is an upgrade on Max Crocombe. Not that Crocomb's done too much wrong, but it is that little extra sort of push that we're looking for to get into the playoffs and possibly even in the automatics. But the other one that I find quite interesting, and it's something I thought about during the season, is that when Alex Neil did have his success at Sunderland, he had two excellent wide players in Roberts and Jack Clark, who were the fulcrum for everything that they did right and how they got going. So for me, getting Watson in from Brighton is a great lift, I think, for our left-hand side that gives us two direct threats. I think as much as we tried to get the left-hand side with players like Ballo, even Camille Negley, the last couple of games, and during the season in Marco, I think we're now looking, if everything to be believed is right about Watson, then we've got a direct winger type player who can go past players and can get shots off and score goals. So if we got that on both sides of the pitch, I can't see there's too much wrong with that. I think that the bigger issue will be left back and how much Watson can contribute to that defensive side of the game. But there's no reason I think that he can't if he's come through from Sunderland, where Alex Neil knew him, and playing at Brighton. And my point with him playing for Brighton or at Brighton is very much like Romain Esse. When you saw Esse and training with Crystal Palace and how much better he looks on the ball and sharper and everything he does a little bit quicker when he's now playing for Coventry. I think if we've got that with Watson and he's used to training with Premier League players and he's used to playing everything a little bit quicker and a little bit more quality-wise, then it can only be good for us. The only, obviously, issue that we'll always work against is injuries. But now if we've got him in there and we've got a bit of a backup, that we can bring on if necessary, then I'm more than happy with the two bits of business I've done yesterday. And, with Bannon, again, I'm struggling to see how Barry Bannon fits into our system. But at the same time, he is an experienced player with quality at a level that, we'd love to see in the past. And now he's with us. If he fits in, whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench, then I'm sure Alex Neil will get it right. But I'm really happy with the two additions we've got. Back to the game on Saturday, I think you can see there that with a left-sided player that could have gone past their fullbacks and turned them around, I think it might have made Brooks have a slightly different game. He'll have had to help out defensively, whereas he didn't really have to do that on Saturday. And we didn't have a lot coming down the left. But on the right-hand side, we've got a nice sort of balance with Kramer and Femi. We're sorted in the centre of the park, with Billy and Casper and now Barry Bannon. And if Derek is fit as well, then we've got sort of players to fall back on that aren't going to let us down at all. It's that number 10 position, I think, is the interesting one, because I don't think that Negley will get left out the way he's been playing. He's been a shining light for us in the last few games, and that's a great lift for, not just for him, but I think for everybody, because we're seeing what he does produce and what he can give us, and he's slightly different to anybody else that we've got. And him and Bannon may be the catalyst, if you like, that gets us going forward and gets us goals from good positions going central. And I've got no doubt that we'll get in the playoffs, because I think we're just going to be too strong for a lot of teams. We've got a little run coming up where get Wrexham out of the way on Saturday. If we get anything from there, great. If we don't, it's not the end of the world. We're still in the top 6. But I do think that we're now at a position where these two latest signings will just lift us and get us worrying other clubs. I think they know the style of football we're going to play, the structure we play to. But it's all right knowing it. It's actually combating it that's going to be the bigger issue. And I've got no doubt that the way Alex Neil's got us set up and got us playing, it is the additional quality that's going to make all the difference. So Saturday, I'll just take as what it is. I think we all saw the limitations of one or two of our players. If it seems likely we're going to lose one or two, if Harding's going to Plymouth and Danny Mack's going somewhere, and I think Marco's being talked about going, well, if they go, they go. It's just what it is. We can't keep everybody happy. And Alex Neil, I'm sure, has a plan in there somewhere. I think the biggest danger we've got is ourselves. So as long as we can keep playing the way we're playing, and we've got a solid defence, and we've got a solid midfield, and we've got a front line that can suddenly do some damage to teams, then I'm more than happy going forward. And I'm really looking forward to the last 16 games that are coming along, and let's hope we can just keep going and come on you, Millwall.
Huge thanks to Jim Hackett there for that, as ever. wonderful summary of the situation. I don't have much to add to a lot of what Jim has said there. I go with everything he said, really, looking through the the recruitment, and well done to the recruitment team. I know one or two out there are talking about the striking situation, but I'd say it's a pretty good transfer window for us, given that we're in the last 16 games of the season. And chance creation is going to be key for us. I think all of the signings, and I include Anthony Patterson in goal, are indeed improvements on what we've had previously. Certainly, the prospect of Tommy Watson and Femi Aziz attacking on the wings lifts my spirits, as Jim has said. And you know what's where will Barry Bannon fit in? I don't know. It's a good question. I was thinking it might put Negley. His position is the obvious replacement, isn't it? But as Jim said, you won't want to leave out Camille Negley because of his contribution to us recently. So I don't know. That's going to be a problem for Alex Neil. I was struck by the slightly neutral comments that Neil has made about Barry Bannon, where, words to the effect of, will he be a success? I don't know, and stuff around that. I do wonder whether, he's been given this gift and don't quite know what to do with it. I don't know. We'll see. Certainly a very, very experienced operator at this stage of the season, and that's going to be invaluable. Just 16 games left and playoff football very much on the table, as Jim Hackett has said there, and who knows, maybe even higher. It's not out of the question, dear listeners. That's great stuff there from Jim Hackett. Now, dear listeners, I've got the remainder of the voicemails from the weekend to play you out with from here onwards. Big thank you to everyone that sends in their voice notes. It's a real help, and I always love to hear the different opinions, the different voices, and the different takes on Millwall. So that's going to be it from myself. I'm going to play out with the remainder of the voice notes now. Thank you to everyone for the contributions. Thank you to you too for listening, dear listeners. Without you, there's not really much point to any of it, is there? So I want to say a big thank you. And from me, Nick Hart, until after the weekend, we've got Wrexham away. I'm not going to be able to get to Wrexham. Going to be hopefully getting a stream or some sort. We'll see where we stand at the end of the weekend, and then some big games to follow. So fingers crossed, dear listeners. Until the next edition of Achtung Millwall, from me, Nick Hart. It's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
So, Nick, here we are, a 1-1 draw against Sheffield United, a team that are far better than their league position, despite the fact that a lot of Millwall fans were predicting 4 goals against them, 3 goals against them. It turned out to be a really tight match, a real tough battle of attrition with injuries. They went down every chance they got, trying to disrupt our rhythm. It didn't really work. Macaulay Langstaff might have scored, but shot straight at the keeper. Then they came down the other end immediately and got a goal. Can you believe that? And then within 2 minutes, we'd scored with the Mihailo Ivanovic getting a goal back to put us on equal terms. And after that, it was really end-to-end stuff for both sides. Both sides should have scored more goals. Both sides missed. But in the end, it was a real tough battle. So a 1-1 draw. We're in a position whereby we are still sort of in touch, about 8 points off the top, I believe. However, next weekend we have to go to Wrexham, which is going to be a very tough game again. So let's hope we can do a bit better and maybe get a goal or two and nick it. 90th minute winner would do nicely. Come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. It's Barnsley here. Just getting back from the game today. I think it was two teams that have just cancelled each other out a little bit today. I think we started off okay, and then the lovely fella who didn't endear himself to the fans very well, did he, after he scored? But, they done a job on us today, I think. Obviously, got the wise old head in charge of Sheffield United now, and I think he used his experience to nullify us on our flanks, because that's obviously where our strengths are, and I think they as soon as Kramer got the ball, Aziz, they doubled up on them. Same with the other side. But I think, I think we've really got to point this game into point the, not a finger, shall we say, but the chance that Langstaff had. If he puts that away, it could have been a different game. But he didn't. And, maybe he had too much time to think about it. But, any strikers, put it low and hard across the keeper. And he's got to get down, but you put it high. He's got his arms there, like Mr. Tickle. And very similar to the Aziz ones at Coventry. You put it high, they're going to get it. And, we're not slagging poor Langstaff off, but he does run around a lot and he does work hard. But, someone a bit more composed in front of the goal and we could be looking at 3 points. But, hey-ho, we battled back. They scored that goal. Hammer for them as a cracking player. Ran the show. Even the corners, the routines that they were doing really caught us out, I think. And we got a goal back from BFS. It was a great poacher's finish, should we say. And we go in 1-0. I didn't think we'd get out of the ground till about 10 tonight with all the players rolling about on the floor. Game management, should we say. But, I thought the referee first half was okay. And then the second half, he was absolutely awful. Alfie lay on the floor. Every time they did it, they would pull the game back. Not with him, though. He's laying about on the floor, punching the floor, injured, and he lets them play on. They need to score. It's one more for them, one for us, isn't it? So frustrating in that. But they game managed very, very well. Went down when they could. But I think they're a decent team. They're in a false position. We know that. And they got a Wiley Fox in charge, and I think definitely done a job on us today. Back four today wasn't Kramer's best game. I think he really struggled. I think for the goal, I think he gave the ball away in the middle, and unfortunately they capitalised on it. And then, Cooper wasn't at his best today. A lot of, I don't know if it was me today, but we seemed to panic a lot on the ball, and there was a lot of hoofing the ball up. And even the keeper, Max, today, his kicking was awful. We just kept pumping the ball high, and it was going out of play. But I mentioned Vinegli. I thought defensively he's very good, up and down. But, we need him facing the other way. But they definitely were coming down our left, weren't they? And I think Alfie had a very tough game today, and I thought he was going to be... personally, I'd have took Langstaff off at half-time and put Zach in there and put Alfie a little bit forward. But hey-ho. So we see the new man play. I thought we'd done all right. I think he imposed himself on free kicks. He's like, everyone get away, I'm taking this. And everyone's like, okay. And, but yeah, he had a cracking volley. Shame it was a little bit closer. But, we huffed and puffed, didn't we? And some cracking balls across the area again. But I think when we took BFS off, I think we really struggled. I think we kind of always go long to Coburn. I don't think he's that great in the air. I think we've got to be a better way. Like, the guy at Watford, he feeds off those through balls, and we need someone there. Hopefully Bannon can come in and, put those balls for him to run onto. But yeah, I think he was very isolated today, and Coburn, and didn't really get much change out of the centre half. But hey ho, we didn't lose. We come back from 1-0 down, which is a good sign. But yeah, hopefully a few more additions by the time the next game's played, and we can really push on, because we need it just to spice it up a little bit. But my man of the match was Taylor today. I thought he was excellent, really good, strong. And we go on. Aziz today wasn't his best game, but he always wants the ball, doesn't he? That shows a good player. And I think, Billy and Casper are just in there. A lot of balls, weird balls coming into sort of the areas where they're having to keep headering it. It was a very sort of pinball in the midfielder today. But, we didn't lose, which is a good sign. And we go to Wrexham, which is going to be a tough old game. But I think it's a game that we can win. I really do. And it'd be lovely if we can. Anyway, mate, have a lovely weekend. What's the rest of it? And come on your lines.
Achtung, Millwall.
Right, Nick, it's Lawrence Billy calling in after Millwall 1, Sheffield United 1. I think that in the end, a draw was about a fair result. On the whole, I think Sheffield United might have edged it, just thinking in terms of how well they executed their game plan. I think they were much more successful at it than we were today. It was a weird performance in the sense that I felt We kind of thrived in the chaos of the first half an hour, despite kind of looking quite vulnerable. I think once we kind of got caught out on the counter a couple of times in that first half, it seemed like the players kind of got a little bit, a little bit nervous maybe. There was a lot of we gave possession away a lot. We played the ball long a lot, kind of aimlessly, I think, as well. I think there were times when, especially kind of at the back with Cooper and in midfield with Denor and Mitchell, that the first port of call was to kind of just boot the ball away because we were so scared of getting caught on that counter attack. That Andre Brooks that scored, very, very skillful, technical, fast player. Sort of the type of player that I think Cooper and our larger players at the back don't really like going up against. But yeah, it was just, everyone was just a little bit off it, you know. Thought Femi Aziz had a good 20-25 minutes in that first half, and then seemed to kind of try and do everything by himself. Became quite one-dimensional with that cutting in and either trying to find the shot or the cross. I think we needed someone on the other flank to help him out a little bit. It's the kind of game that maybe Maki could have made a difference in, but you know, I think Ballo is also a solid option potentially. But yeah, it sort of highlights, I think, that we need a different option that left flank, because as much as I thought Nagli had a good game, I do feel like he doesn't really have the pace to trouble teams kind of going up against fullbacks. So someone like Tommy Watson be really much appreciated, I think, in games like that where, you know, we need something a little bit different. Bannon looked quite classy in the few touches he had on the ball. Nearly pulled off a spectacular volley at one point. But yeah, you know, just one of those annoying games where the opposition are good, they do a job on you, and nothing really clicks. It's important not to lose those games. So, you know, we did well to get a point, and that's about as much as we deserved, I think, in the end. Wrexham away next week. That's a big game. I feel like if we can get a point up there, then we've got some very winnable games coming up. But it's often the winnable games that we fail to dispatch. So who knows? Long way to go yet. 16 games or so. We'll see what happens. All right. Cheers, Nick.
What a competitive game, eh, Nick? You know, that was a battle, a war of attrition. And what a positive response from going a goal down to hit back straight away. You know, throughout the game, I thought we kept our discipline, kept our shape. And our new signing in the curious number 67 shirt gave us a massive lift when he came on. And to be fair, we were the strongest side in those final 10, 15 minutes. But I don't look at this so much as 2 points dropped. Not like it would be if we failed to beat Portsmouth in our next home game. You know, Sheffield United are a top six side who currently sitting in the bottom eight. That's because at the beginning of the season, they were having such a hangover after losing out to Sunderland in last year's Wembley showdown in the last seconds. And they had amassed an amazing 90 points last season. And that was even with a points deduction. So just a blip, you know, they're having a reset and they will be flying again at the top of the table next season. So a 1-1 draw was quite acceptable for me. And that now continues a run of just one defeat in the last 8 league games since Boxing Day. And we're on 50 points now. So how did we get here so quickly? You don't normally do that, do we? So, you know, and I've seen a lot of online posts of how disappointed people were because of the draw, which wrecks our chances of automatic promotion. Are you sure? Anyway, fuck all that. I want a day out at Wembley. And that would be a first as a championship club. Wrexham stand in our way next, and we must avoid defeat in order to remain in 5th place. 16 games to go. That's 16 cup finals, really, in it, and 8 wins still required by my reckoning. Almost a fully fit squad. We know Luongo and Kelly will miss the remainder of the season, leaving just Joe Bryan and Will Smallbone still crocked. But what a time it is to be a Millwall fan. And what a great opportunity next weekend to put more clear daylight between us and the chasing pack. Come on, you Wall!
Morning, Nick. Rob Abbott here. 1-1 against Sheffield United yesterday. In my honest opinion, I think that was a fair result. Thought Chris Wilder had set them up very well and they looked a very good team. I always say league tables don't lie. A lot of people were saying they think Sheffield United are in a forced position. They're down there because of the start that they've had to the season. And then since Chris Wilder's come back, they're probably a top 10 team, as in results. So yesterday, we can look at it as a 2-point drop, but then I think on reflection of the game, as I said, a point was a very fair result. I think if we would have got the 3 points yesterday, it would have put us right in contention for potentially a top 2 spot. We're a little bit off that at the moment, but 16 games to go. We're in a good position in the league, aren't we? We would have all taken this at the start of the year. And what with a few bodies incoming, I believe Watson and Patterson passed their medicals last night. So that will add some strength to our squad. Going back to the game yesterday, give credit to Wilder. Like I said, I thought he set them up very well and they looked very, very dangerous down their right-hand side. And Brooks had Doherty on toast. And that's very hard to do because Doherty is Premiership quality. But yeah, Brooks is probably the best player I've seen down the Den for an away player this season. And not only him, they look dangerous. Harmer's a very, very good player. And they nullified us in a way. It was a very transitional game. I think the one thing I would add is Doughty, Kramer, Aziz probably didn't hit their usual peaks. Negley was fantastic for the whole game. His work rate was phenomenal. He saved Doughty a few times defending. And then on the ball, he was very good. And then Taylor and Cooper, in my opinion, were both excellent. One thing I will say, though, is we made some subs, and subs win the games a lot at this level. And it's good to see that we've got depth on the bench. And albeit our subs didn't go and win that game, I think if that game went on for another 10 minutes, we would have got across the line because we were finishing very, very strong. So that's a testament to our subs that come on. Coburn, Bannon. So, it's looking promising with Patterson and Watson coming in and probably maybe another one, hopefully. But we will lose one or two. I'd like to see RBW go out on loan, and there's rumours that Amaku will leave. But look, on to Wrexham next week. 16 games to go. Wrexham's a big one. Again, I'll take a point up there. And then we've got Sheffield Wednesday where we can't slip up, and Portsmouth. We've got Preston soon as well. So we got a nice little run after Wrexham, in my opinion. But we go game by game. Fair point yesterday. We didn't do enough to win the game. I think a few of our bigger guns didn't perform to the ability they had been. And fair play to Chris Wilder. But we march on to Wrexham away. Come on, you Lions.
Hiya, Nick. Glenn here. At the Den yesterday, saw the game against Sheffield United. Again, 1-1 I think is a fair result on the balance of play. However, I do think that we were the better side throughout the majority of that game and definitely had the opportunities to have won it. Have to say, I wasn't so impressed with Femi Aziz. I mean, he certainly got himself in good positions and created opportunities to put the ball in the box. But for me, too many of his crosses dropped short of our players. I went straight to the keeper. And I think the same could be said for Tristan Kramer. I think Tristan played well defensively, but I think both he and Aziz going forward probably didn't have their best game, which is a shame because obviously that they are crucial to our attack. And seeing Alex Neil's interview as well. I mean, I think the right hand side of the Sheffield United team was their biggest threat as well, and Doughty did a very good job of trying to contain their number 11, but he was a handful. I think his name was Brooke. And yeah, I was sorry to see Doughty go off, but I've got to give kudos to Sturge, who really then took control of the game and seemed to have that mobility needed to sort of keep Brooke under control. My man of the match, head and shoulders performance above everybody else, was Camille Negley. That boy is literally the linchpin of everything that we do. Every attacking move goes through him. He's coming back and defending. He's really maturing into a classy a midfield player now, and I know he was out on the left for part of the game yesterday, but you know he will create chances and capture the ball in his own area and dribble his way out and you know keep possession. More importantly, he doesn't just thump the ball up the field and give the ball back to the opposition on a regular basis, and that is worth a lot. And I really think Camille Negley has come on. I've been so impressed with his performances of late, and he just seems to be improving all the time. So well done, and keep going. Obviously, the signings that have come in this week are quite exciting. Seeing Tommy Watson sign, whether or not that lad Patterson signs, I'm fine with Crocombe. Don't have a problem with him. Some of it, I mean, a couple of his passes went a bit awry yesterday, but some of those passes were from back passes under pressure, and you can't expect every single pass to be a quality ball if he's being given sort of hospital passes by his midfield and defenders. And he did create some opportunities by pinging the ball across the field out to the wingers and to Cranberry in particular. So for me, I think Crocombe gets a lot of unfair criticism. One final comment, and this is really kudos to the club. I won't go into details, but I mean, basically, I had to rearrange some tickets for a special occasion for one of my relatives. To sit in an area where they could get in with low mobility issues. And the club were brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Got great help from Alex Russell, I think it is, and Will Phelan in the ticket department. They were wonderful, and I can only just say what a great feeling it was to be supporting a club that looks after its fans the way they do. So thanks very much, Millwall, and looking forward to the Wrexham game. Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall, Nick Hart. Hope you're right, Nick. Didn't see you in the clouds today in the corner. Hope all is well. But I don't know. I'm fucking fuming, man. Sorry, Nick, I'm fuming, man. People say, "Oh, Millwall's expectations are going to get higher and higher." Well, it is. And people say, "Oh, Sheffield United are in a false position. Swap places with us." You know. But how the fuck we haven't won that fucking game? I'm fucking fuming, man. I'm passionate, and that's okay. I need to calm down. That is 2 points dropped. Full stop. Right. Forget Brannigan starting. He had a shot from 30 yards. Aziz, you're getting a bit fucking greedy now. Right, being a star man. Mahala scores a great goal, but then the fans sing his name. But when he plays shit, they don't sing his name. Make up your minds. No, I'm just really, it's a point, but we're in the playoff mix still. If Hollywood Bowl, New York, Hollywood Disney Channel next week beat us, and they beat us at home already 2-0, they go join, and then we've got a five point gap. Yeah, but we could have won today and put pressure on Hull and Ipswich, and they drew. Hull won, and Middlesbrough now catching Coventry. Coventry lost. Thanks, QPR. Quarter pound of shit. But listen, I don't know. I hope you're all well, but I'm actually. You can say a point at home, but you got to win our home games. Alex Neil said during the week, got to win every game now at home. Points not good enough. So I'm frustrated, really. And right then, no one's all in the box. Put your head on it. Put your head on it. Oh, deflated. It's only football. Fucking more to life than football. Anyway, Achtung Mill, great podcast. Lions TV, chaps, damn, chat, whatever way you want to call it. Oh, Wrexham now, 2 away games now. Does Barry Bannerman start against Wrexham? Yeah. And Josh Coburn starts, I think. Yeah, Mahala's goal was a tap-in. I would score that, mate. And then it's Sheffield Wednesday. Does he play Bannigan? Emotions, hearts, and all that? Yeah. Look, we've got 2 big away games now to win, to put our place in the playoffs, because playoffs is not secure, mate. Watford, Bristol City, Derby, Wrexham. We could easily go out in 2 or 3 games. There's 16 games to go. Anyway, I'm going home. I'm back to work on Monday. Had a week off. Should have won today. Fucking didn't. Bye for now. Bye.
Oh, hi, Nick. Martin Colwell here. Hello. My thoughts on today's game. The draw against Sheffield United. Closely fought game. Both sides going for it. I thought, but lacking quality in front of goal, both teams. I think Millwall started a bit shaky. I thought Tristan Kramer was struggling a bit in defence, and he eventually made the mistake that led to the switch of play that led to the Sheffield United goal. I thought that Sheffield United spotted that Arrivederci lacked a bit of pace, so they put that wide player up against him, had a bit of speed, who cut inside and scored the goal. And that was a bit of a worry for me, to be honest, today with Arrivederci at left back. I think I said it to you last time that I have a bit of worry about him being left back and his lack of pace. I think he probably plays in front of Zach Sturge, to be honest, in our strongest 11. But yeah, we did well to get back in it. I mean, a much-deserved equaliser, I thought. I thought the first half was very even in terms of switches of play. I think Sheffield United probably got on top second half, despite their tactics of feigning injury regularly to get breaks. But yeah, they play the ball around fast, and I think we struggled with that. I thought Billy Mitchell looked a bit out of it today. I think he seemed to get the ball and want to play it too quickly, a bit panicky in the middle there. And I think it was just a bit of a struggle for him. And I also thought that final ball-wise, Tristan Kramer and Femi Aziz were struggling a bit down the right. But yeah, we battled through it. I think it's probably a fair result on the day. In terms of the team, some people were saying the goalie could have done better with the goal, but I think that, to be honest, it was in the corner and it took a slight nick off someone, I think. And I think maybe a Donnarumma or an Allison may get there, world-class goalkeepers, but I don't think a championship goal is getting there, to be honest. So I can't criticise him for that. I thought Caleb Taylor was excellent again. I think he was my man of the match last week. But yeah, I thought he's excellent. He really looks a good player because he has that surge, got those long legs, bit of pace, and can make runs forward. And I think he's a player with a definite future. I thought Jake Cooper did well enough defensively. I think his distribution, obviously, as we would always think, is a bit iffy. But, I mean, yeah, he did what he needed to do, and he won every single ball in the air. I think their tactic of lumping up to Cannon was a stupid tactic because, he was going to be eaten alive by the two Millwall defenders if the ball was in the air. Yeah, I think that Macaulay Langstaff runs about a bit, and I said to you last week that he's better when we haven't got the ball, if he's closing down and harassment. But when we get the ball, he seems really just be out of it. I don't think he should be in the team, to be honest. I think it's time for him to come out of the team now because when we've got the ball, he doesn't seem to do anything with it. I know he missed his chance that he should have buried, but also when he gets the ball, he just seems to struggle to play, an accurate ball to someone. I think he's the one weakness in Alex Neil's selection. I don't think he should be in the team. I think we need to now start utilising Barry Bannon a bit more. I think we should play probably with a three in midfield, Billy Mitchell, Denora and Barry Bannon, and then let a centre forward play with Femi Aziz and someone on the left, maybe even either Arrivederci or Mark, or really we need to bring someone in a bit better in terms of a striking force, either on that left or down the centre, because we do struggle to finish off our chances. It's an all-round thing. I know that the Serb took his chance well, but other than that, I thought we looked a bit shaky in front of goal. As I say, I liked it when Zach Sturge came in. Thought he gave us a bit more balance at the back, a bit more pace to cope with their attacks. I think he should probably get in the first 11 now. But yeah, we've got to use players like Barry Bannon a bit more because he can create, and okay, Billy Mitchell didn't have a good game today, but he normally does play well, but he hasn't got that creative spark that Barry Bannon's got. So I think Barry Bannon needs to be in the team now for us to push forward. One bit of praise as well for Camel Negley, who was getting back and defending. I thought he did well. Sometimes he's a bit casual on the ball. He's obviously talented and he's working back now, and I think it's unfair for him to drop out with Barry Bannon coming in. I think it's probably Langstaff goes out and we find we rejig the team a bit, because we've got to start winning games now and getting 3 points, because it's all getting very tight and you've got teams finishing behind as well who are going to come with a run. Someone's going to come with a run into that top 6. And I know Derby have gone there and Wrexham have gone there, and Sheffield United, if they get a decent forward, or they could probably make a challenge, same as Norwich. So we've got to start winning games. We've got Wrexham next week, where I think if we can sit in, we can get them on the break. But then we've got the game against Sheffield Wednesday that we have to win. So basically, if it takes us to play 6 forwards, then we play with 6 forwards in that game. It's a 3-point banker for us on paper, but you've got to do it on the pitch anyway. But anyway, that's my thoughts on today's game. Let's push on. Let's go for goals. Let's try to maintain that spot in the top 6, and come on, you Lions.
Hi, Nick. Bobby T, how you doing? I hope all is well, mate. I've calmed down a bit now. I just want to get things off my chest, basically. People said on social media, Ford Hart point. I disagree, basically, if you ask me, basically. Let's go for the whole team now. I mean, in the second half, let's see the first half. Langstaff, sorry, mate, you should have scored that 1-on-1. You're playing well in the hole. Brannigan maybe should have started. Alex, they got it wrong, if you ask me. So anyway, if Salford City come in for him, I'll be upset if he goes, but look, Brannigan in that middle, we would have been out of sight. So that's that. First half, Langstaff. Second half, did you absolutely see anything? Their keeper we didn't create nothing. Sheffield United come in, and that's a poor Sheffield United team with that Bamford and Tatanga. And the second half, they look more like to go on and win it. And so let's see. Apparently, man of the match Taylor. Every single player today. I mean, did you see on our left side, Doherty could not contain their right midfield guard. I don't know what it is, Brooks, and Nedgley and Doherty. Sturridge should have started maybe. And Alfie, yeah. Alex Neil, I think you wait 6 minutes to bring on Ballo. And again, look, Ballo might go, I don't know. He didn't do nothing. 6 minutes. Your subs today, yes, Sir Alex Neil, all like you're the Messiah, he's got no hair. But the second half, we didn't create anything. It was a dull second half. We should have took that game by the neck and won that 3-4-1. But Aziz getting greedy. So anyway, back to my point. I'm just giving you my thoughts now. I'm frustrated. Man of the match, yeah, maybe Taylor. Billy Mitchell, Casper was quiet. Cooper was making mistakes constantly. Crammer today, again, for their goal, Crammer, right? Taylor won the ball, Nedgley, then over to and then Crammer's running on the right back position, running. He loses out to a fat fucking hammer, fat boy, midget. He lost the ball, they went and scored. So that's Crammer. Crammer, you had a bad game, if you ask me. Dilly-dazzling. Cooper, yeah, I told you about that. What else is there? Billy and Casper. Yeah, Brannigan, come on. Josh should have started. I'm sorry, Mahilo. Yeah, you scored a thingy. Who else? Nedgley, yeah. Aziz, greedy. Look, we've got 3 months to go now. 16 games to go. If we're not careful, we could come out of the playoffs. Yeah, it's a 5-point gap. Mind the gap, 5 points. Yeah, QPR beat Coventry. We've got a big game against Wrexham and Sheffield Wednesday now. They ain't going to be easy. So that's my point. 2 points dropped today. People say hard fought point or great point. We're still in the playoffs. But can you imagine if we didn't lose to Middlesbrough? We didn't lose to Middlesbrough, Wrexham at home. Did we draw at Hull at home? We lost at Hull. At home to Hull a little bit. I think we lost. Anyway, bye for now, Bobby T. Very bad Saturday, if you ask me. You say point gain. Got to win your home matches. Bye for now, Bobby T. Love you all.
want to watch?